Cop mocks black woman's innocent realize he just mocked his new boss. The air in the precinct was thick with the stench of stale coffee and arrogance. Officer Daniel Harris leaned back in his chair, smirking, as he dangled a driver's license between his fingers like it was a cheap poker card. "This thing real, sweetheart," he drawled, his voice dripping with mockery. Across the desk, Maya Ellis stood rigid, her dark eyes burning through him, her tailored suit a stark contrast to the chaos of the 47th Precinct. She was here for her first day, but Harris didn't know that. Nobody did. The room buzzed with the usual chaos, phones ringing, officers shouting, a drunk in cuffs yelling about his rights. But for Maya, the world narrowed to the man in front of her, his badge gleaming under the flickering lights. "I said, hand it back," she repeated, her voice low, steady, but laced with an edge that could cut glass. Harris chuckled, tossing the ID onto the desk. "Looks like something you bought off the street, darling. Where'd you get it?" "Some bodega in Harlem." The words hit like a slap, and the room seemed to hold its breath. A few officers glanced over, sensing the tension. Maya's jaw tightened, but she didn't flinch. She'd faced worse, far worse, growing up in a neighborhood where trust in uniforms was a fairy tale. Her mother's voice echoed in her mind. "They'll try to break you, Maya. Stand taller." And she did. At 38, she'd clawed her way through law school, through years of being underestimated, to this moment. But Harris didn't know that either. He leaned forward, his smirk widening. "What's your deal, huh? You lost. This ain't the DMV." A couple of his buddies snickered from nearby desks, egging him on. Maya's fingers curled into fists, but her face remained a mask of control. She could have told him right then Calvi he dropped the bomb that would wipe that smug grin off his face. But she didn't. Not yet. Instead, she picked up her ID, her movements deliberate, and slid it into her pocket. "You done?" she asked, her tone icy. Harris laughed, loud and performative. "Oh, I'm just getting started. What's your name again?" "Maya? Sounds like you're here to clean the place." "Not." He stopped short as the precinct door swung open with a bang. Captain Reynolds, a grizzled veteran with a permanent scowl, stormed in, his presence silencing the room. "Listen up," he barked. "Your new precinct commander starts today. She's been transferred from the 19th, and she's got more commendations than all of you clowns combined. Show some respect." His eyes scanned the room, landing on Maya. "Commander Ellis, you want to say a few words?" The silence was deafening. Harris's face drained of color, his mouth half open like a fish gasping for air. The other officers exchanged glances, some stifling laughter, others staring in disbelief. Maya stepped forward, her heels clicking on the linoleum, each step a quiet declaration of power. She stopped beside Harris's desk, her gaze locking onto his. "I'm Maya Ellis," she said, her voice clear, commanding. "And I expect better from my team." Harris stammered, his bravado crumbling. "Two didn't know, ma'am. I thought." "Thought what?" Maya cut him off, her tone sharp but calm. "That I didn't belong here. That my ID was fake because of how I look." She let the words hang, heavy, as the room watched in stunned silence. "You're not the first to make that mistake, Officer Harris, but you'll be the last to make it twice." She turned to the room, her presence filling the space. "This precinct has a reputation, some of it good, a lot of it not. I'm here to change that. We serve everyone, no exceptions, no assumptions, no shortcuts. If you can't handle that, there's the door." Her eyes flicked back to Harris, who looked like he wanted to disappear into the floor. The truth was, Maya had known this moment was coming. She'd heard the whispers about the 47th, about officers like Harris, who threw their weight around because they could. She'd taken this job knowing the fight she'd face, not just against crime, but against the rot within these walls. Her father, a janitor who'd worked nights to put her through school, had taught her that power wasn't given, it was earned. And she'd earned every inch of this. Harris's apology came later, mumbled and awkward, in her office. She listened, her face unreadable, then leaned forward. "You want to make this right? Change. Not just for me, but for everyone who walks through those doors expecting justice." He nodded, shame etched into his features, and left without another word. By week's end, the precinct was different. Officers stood straighter, worked harder. Complaints dropped. Maya's rules were simple: respect, accountability, fairness. She led by example, staying late, reviewing cases, listening to the community. The wooden clipboard on her desk, scrawled with ID mocked, boss revealed, became a quiet legend among the rookies, a reminder of the day prejudice met its match. Maya knew the road ahead was long. Bias didn't vanish overnight. But as she looked out at her team, at the city beyond, she felt the weight of her father's pride, her mother's strength. This was her fight, and she was just getting started. Thank you for listening. If you find it interesting, please like and subscribe to follow the next stories.